Straight ahead on WBKB, additional COVID vaccines are available this week.
Plus, 2 local women hope their new project will bring the community together, and it's National Mom and Pop Business Day.
You are watching Thunder Bay News Network. WBKB News at 6 starts now.
This is WBKB News at 6. An in-depth look at news, weather, and sports. From hard-hitting news stories to local events, we're there with coverage you can count on. You're watching WBKB News at 6.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Sherry Stewart.
And I'm Tyler Cruz. Trial for former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin began today. He's accused of murdering George Floyd last May.
The case drew international attention to racial injustice. Michael George has more from Minneapolis.
Mr. Derek Chauvin betrayed this badge.
Prosecutor Jerry Blackwell began his case against former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin with the most powerful piece of evidence. For 9 minutes and 29 seconds, the 14 jurors watched an entire bystander video of Chauvin pressing his knee on George Floyd's neck.
Grinding and crushing him until the very breath, no, ladies and gentlemen, until the very life were squeezed out of him.
Chauvin has pleaded not guilty to the charges of murder and manslaughter. The defense argues Floyd's death was caused by a heart condition, methamphetamine, and fentanyl.
There is no political or social cause in this courtroom. But the evidence is far greater than 9 minutes and 29 seconds.
Attorneys for Floyd's family kneeled before the trial began. They say this trial is a referendum on racial justice in America.
This murder case is not hard. When you watch that torture video of George Floyd.
Minneapolis is a city on edge. The area around the courthouse is protected by fencing and the National Guard. The protests here have been peaceful, but the fear is if Chauvin is acquitted, that could change. Among the protesters, many told us this should be an open and shut case.
I have confidence in that judge. I have confidence in the jurors that this man will be convicted.
People is on edge, man. They're ready to do something. These people is on edge so bad.
The first witnesses have already begun testifying. The trial is expected to take up to 4 weeks.
To look at what we've marked as Exhibit 151.
District Health Department number 4 has additional COVID vaccination spots for anyone over 18 this week. Starting Wednesday, March 31st, Knights of Columbus Hall in Sheboygan has 800 additional spots that will be available between 9:30 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. On Thursday, April 1st, there is another 800 additional vaccines available at the Alpena Mall from 9:30 to 3:30. Residents must live in the DHD4 service area. If you already have an appointment for these clinics, you will still receive your shot at the scheduled time. And here's meteorologist Ellie Morrison with a first check of the weather. Ellie, what's going on today?
Tyler, we're seeing plenty of sunshine at this hour across the area with 46 degrees in Alpena under mostly clear skies, just a touch cooler in Rogers City at 42 degrees, and in Houghton Lake 48 degrees with clear skies. What I'm watching is this next system off to the west. It's going to give us a chance of some rain showers late tomorrow. Temperatures are going to become much warmer tomorrow with wind shifting direction coming out of the south. So even after midnight, our temperatures will be going from the upper 30s into the lower 40s. Tomorrow morning, we're climbing from the middle 40s into the lower 50s. By the afternoon, we're heading up to highs in the lower 60s. That warmth does not last. I will let you know about some much colder temperatures heading in our direction a little bit later in the newscast.
Thanks for that, Ellie. Hopefully that's the last of cold temperatures we're going to hear for a while. I hope so. State caregivers of seniors and people with disabilities saw an increase in pay due to the pandemic, but will that increase be permanent? The original $2 pay increase helped recognize the essential and often dangerous tasks performed by direct care workers. State lawmakers are currently questioning if this temporary boost should become permanent. One Northern Michigan organization says a raise for essential workers has been needed for some time.
It's to create that kind of level of pay that will allow it to attract people into that work. it should be an easy decision because this is something that's economically sound, so it should be a win-win.
Initial pay increase expired February 28th, but was quickly renewed and increased by an additional 25 cents. That extension expires September 30th.
At a time when our nation remains divided by politics and a pandemic, 2 Alpena women have launched an initiative to bring people together. Here's more on their project called Ubuntu Alpena.
Ubuntu is a word that I learned 3 or 4 years ago, and it literally changed my life, my entire way of thinking.
Rose Nowak and Tracy Boyle are longtime friends who envision a community that embraces the spirit of togetherness.
I feel like we've had a really rough year as far as differing opinions, and there's been some, battles of ego. So this project lets us put egos aside and helps us to kind of heal our community with a common ground, and that would be giving to others, and that's kind of something that we can't really argue about. It's a beautiful thing, and I think it's the first step towards healing our community and coming together in a peaceful way.
The goal of the project is to spread a positive message about a community that cares, shares, and respects one another.
We are asking people if they're interested, to purchase these shirts that we've created, and then when they purchase the shirt, 100% of the proceeds will go back into our community through either a nonprofit organization or a youth organization. And they can choose what organization they would like those profits to go to.
Rose and Tracy say they're excited about the project and what it means for the community to embrace the principle, I am because we are. If you would like to know more about Ubuntu Alpena and how you can get involved in the project, we have this story posted on our website.
That sounds really nice.
It's a great project.
It's National Mom and Pop Business Day, so we spoke to the owners of Alpena's Big Bear Lodge. They told us about their experience this past year. Louis and Hanley Engelbrecht say they were among the luckier business owners when lockdown began last March. Hanley says 2019 was a strong year for the lodge and gave them a financial cushion. However, the Engelbrechts say they're sad for their fellow business owners who didn't make it through 2020.
The sad thing is watching people lose their businesses and businesses closing. I mean, the restaurant right behind us, I used to send all my guests there for breakfast. And I send all my dinner guests next door this side. So I'm glad they're here, but I'm sorry that those guys are gone. I'm sorry that Neiman's is gone.
The Engelbrechts say business slightly ticked up last summer, but not enough to match pre-pandemic levels. The couple met plenty of guests who just wanted a change of scenery. They say they hope to see the return of large events sometime soon.
The other thing we need is for the city to just get going with the normal festivals and events and all of that again. That hasn't really started yet.
Things for the guests to do, events. Because there's
parades or
and the museum.
Festivals and events are major draws for tourists and are crucial for the hospitality industry. However, with COVID cases rising in Michigan, including the British and South African variants, hotels and inns will be waiting at least a little longer.
As we move into April, we also move into Autism Awareness Month. The Michigan State Police joins the Action for Autism initiative. The program provides officers with calming bags that contain fidget spinners, stress balls, teddy bears, and therapeutic silicone items. These items help with the comfort and security needs of a person with autism spectrum disorder. The Autism Alliance of Michigan will provide virtual training to the MSP throughout April. More news ahead for you here on WBKB. Coming up, Mondays with The Mayor is back, and meteorologist Ellie Morrison has your 7-day forecast.
Nature shots, pics with friends, or interesting sights you see that you'd like to send us. Email it along with a short description to news@WBKB11.com.
It's a chubby little Robin. Coming up next, we have Mondays with the Mayor, and Jake Vanderbrook will have the latest in sports. Stay tuned. Welcome back. On today's Monday with the Mayor, WBKB's Tiffany Maddox talks to City of Alpena Mayor Matt Walagora about the city's COVID restrictions and what's ahead.
We're here, we're talking about all things COVID. We've got COVID restrictions loosening throughout the state. Can we kind of touch on, what is happening in the city of Alpena in terms of restaurants opening with more capacity limits, et cetera?
What I've noticed is that people are getting out and going to restaurants and other facilities that are allowed to open, which kind of tells me that people are ready.
What have some of your neighbors or just people that you know in terms of the excitement or at least seeing some type of normalcy? What's their reaction been?
I think it's all been relatively positive or very positive as far as having meetings and being able to see people and communicate directly rather than virtually. I think we learned a lot that we can use through virtual world and things like that. But from neighbors and people I've associated with meetings and gone out, and it seems that everybody's pretty happy about things being lifted.
The vaccination eligibility is expanding, especially next month, I believe April 5th. Would you say that so far in Alpena in general, it's been a successful effort?
It sounds like it. It sounds like every batch, if you will, that we get gets distributed quickly.
On the next Minute with the Mayor.
Thanks for that, Tiffany, and WBKB would like to thank Beth Stickney Green, who helped us with this segment's name change.
I kind of like the name.
I do too.
Jake Vanderbrook's next with sports, but first, here he is with a preview. Jake, what's going on?
Hey, Tyler, Sherry, Ellie, and to all of you watching, hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. It's Monday. We have your top plays of the week. You don't want to miss those. Plus, NASCAR on a Monday? Well, how about that? We have the results of the Pinty's truck race out in Bristol. Keep it here because sports is coming up next.
Well, before we go tonight, we wanted to wish the city of Alpena a happy 150th birthday.
Happy birthday. Yeah. That's all we have for you this evening.
You can read more about our broadcast stories and get the scoop on other news items online.
Just visit WBKB11.com for sports, weather, and news updates anytime, day or night.
And check us out on our Facebook page and Twitter handle at WBKB11.
Be sure to catch us back here tonight at 11 with Stephanie Manici. Have a great evening.